Hey, I'm Will Danes, and this is my nephew here, Lucas Boris, and we are the WDLB Sports Podcast, where we talk everything Yankees and Mets. Oh, I said Yankees first this time in rehearsal. I said Mets first.
Okay, I see how it is.
Yeah, that's my team. As you can see, we're both representing with our
Perhaps, yes.
with our hats here, and I'm just gonna start with not a great ending for the Yankees this
No,
half.
no, they had so much momentum and they lost all of it. Pretty good week for the Mets, though. Honestly, they didn't. They also did not end on a win, but I say they had a pretty good week.
See, the Yankees didn't end on a win. They did take 2 out of 3 from Baltimore, but it still doesn't feel good. It still just feels like,
No.
eh, you
Well,
know?
you almost had it too. You had 3-run homer
Yes.
from Ben Rice off of Kimbrel. And then in the bottom of the inning, you had the game in your hands, and Volpe makes the error, which
And then,
causes Cedric Mullins. And then Verdugo falls down.
yeah, the Verdugo fall. I'm sure that'll be
I
a
feel like
meme.
he wouldn't have caught the ball anyway.
No, that'll be a meme though. The
No,
fall.
definitely. I see people put the falling sound effect already on there. The
Yeah.
cartoon falling sound effect. It's great.
I mean, but you know what though? That kind of sums up the Yankees' first half when you really think about it, right?
Yeah.
It kind of ended on that note. I mean, the Yankees started out on a high note. They were the first team to 50 games. Right? They were hot. They were playing ridiculous out of their minds, but I think if the past few years say anything about this team, they did this last year. They started out hot and then they faded, right? It's just
Yeah.
kind of a thing now. So I think fans are just, you got to hold your breath, even though they are the Yankees and they have the resources, but they don't seem to use their resources in the way that the fans expect them to. They seem to be more, I don't want to say conservative, but more measured. I think that's a better word at it. So let's talk about the Mets now. Let's talk about your
Okay.
team, the team in
So
Queens,
the team in
Flushing.
Queens, the Mets started out the week honestly not so good. But they did. Sunday was a pretty good game. They ended the series against the third game against the Pirates actually, and they were leading 1-0 in the eighth inning when Edwin Diaz came in and blew the game like he has always recently. However, the Mets came back against Aroldis Chapman in the ninth inning, and with Lindor 2 RBI single, and they won. That is the first win of the week.
It's
Second
Chapman,
game,
though.
yeah,
You know, it's
Chapman is
Chapman. I mean,
Chapman. That was his 5th blown save against the Mets. Actually, his
Chapman.
most against any team.
I have fond memories of Chapman
Oh
as
my
a
God,
Yankee.
Chapman! I don't even know why they keep going to sign Chapman because you
And
know
he's-
you're gonna get at this point.
And he's like the hardest working pitcher. Like he's just a mound of sweat on the mound. He looks
Oh
like he's
my
working
God,
so
bro!
hard.
Dude,
You
he
know?
looks like he's gonna melt on the mound. It's crazy.
And these new jerseys that all the players are complaining about don't help.
That's a debate for another day. That is.
Ugh, you know,
I think we both have strong opinions on the New Jerseys.
Yeah, I mean, you just watch any game; it doesn't matter. Like the players just sweat right through them. It's disgusting.
It is incredible how bad.
It's either that or it's just global warming.
Global warming. The second game was on Monday. Nothing to write home about. Christian Scott, the kid, pitched pretty well, but then the bullpen came in. Eric Orzi, a rookie, came in, didn't get an out. Adrian Hauser came in and gave up 5 runs. The Mets lost the last game of the series that they split in Pittsburgh to go back home. Tuesday was a game I attended live, so it was a very cool, interesting experience. Nimmo and Lindor both hit home runs. The bullpen almost imploded again. Adam Ottavino, just retire already, buddy.
Another guy I have fond memories of as a Yankee.
Please retire. Reed Garrett, his arm has become a chicken wing. They put him on the IL after that game with right elbow inflammation.
Oh, so he might be done. That's it.
The problem with Reed Garrett is he has some amazing stuff. He strikes out a ton of batters, but after that game, he had thrown 72 pitches in 4 days.
Oof,
As a relief pitcher, you should not be doing that. And
no.
he looked exhausted on the mound. Like he gave up a home run in the ninth inning, and he didn't even look like disappointed. He just looked like, please get me out of here. Like I am.
Yeah, but that's a testament that they don't have a bullpen. Like they need a bullpen.
It is because he's a decent bullpen piece, but the fact that they have to overuse him to the point where he hurt himself is terrible.
And that's it. Who knows when you elbow information,
It could be
Inflammation.
bad.
Inflammation. Sorry.
They announced the team announced that he would be out for 2 to 4 weeks, I believe. So
Well, as long as you don't hear,
he dodged Tommy John. They said.
as long as you don't hear those two words, Dr.
Yes.
Andrews, right? Like that's the doctor.
That's you
hear Dr. Andrews, that's it. Those are the two worst words to hear in
Goodbye.
Baseball. Goodbye. You're going to see that guy. That's it.
The
Okay.
Mets held on for the win, 7-5. First game of the series against the Nationals. The next one, Brandon Nimmo once again with the home run. Luis Severino pitched pretty well, got through 6 innings and 2 earned runs. Jose Butto gets his first career saves as the Mets win 6-2. Second series, and the Thursday game they shut out. They had their first shutout. They were the last team to get a shutout. They didn't shut anyone out because it's mainly because of the bullpen. Adam Ottavino once again almost blew that chance, but the Mets took it home 7-0 and swept the Nationals out of town. The Friday game, a bunch of homers. I think 7 homers in the game. Sean Manaea pitched really well. Vientos hit a homer. Jose Iglesias hit 2. Bader hit 2. Okay. The Mets held on 7-6. They almost lost that game, which would have been again the bullpen. The bullpen. Jake Diekman came in, didn't get it out. Phil Maton came in, gave up 2. It was once again
with the bullpen in such disarray, right? Pitching in general is going to be a premium coming up with this trade deadline. Like, you can't be surprised or shocked if, well, first of all, any team trying to get any kind of pitching is going to have to probably overpay because there's so many teams that are still in contention, right? That need pitching. So what do the Mets do? Because at this point, it's like, hey, you take somebody off the street, say, can you throw a baseball? Just get in there, right?
See, the thing with the Mets is that there's not one arm in that bullpen you can trust anymore. The fact that they need to trade for the Yimi Garcias, the Mason Millers, they need to trade for someone out there that strikes a ton of batters out and just doesn't give up any home runs, which they've been really bad about.
But with a depleted bullpen as they have, does it even make sense to try to get 1 or 2 guys? Because aren't you just going to just overuse them too?
They need
I don't know. I mean,
overhaul of this bullpen. That's their issue.
Can you overhaul a bullpen midway through the season?
It's hard to do, but it has been done before. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, it sounds like it is going to be difficult because, even the Yankees are looking for pitching. Like, they need, their bullpen is probably in better shape because we got your boy, Mr. Tompkin, who can throw a pitch. Tompkin. And he puts on the pinstripes and magically.
What a wonder! You see the Yankees figured out how to use
what is it? 1 point something ERA.
It's something like that. It's incredible. The fact that the Yankees figured out how to use that man, and I give them credit. They realized that he should come in the game when the game is either out of reach or in both ways, in their favor or the other team's favor, and he just mops up the game. That's what he's gonna do.
And you watch him today. He was great.
He cleans up the game. He doesn't do anything.
He comes in, doesn't
special.
Doesn't give up any runs. Just he just comes in and he just mops up. Like he's turned into one of the best relievers in, dare I say, baseball right now.
No, I don't think you're wrong at that. I think the Yankees' usage of Michael Tonkin a little bit, but I see where you're coming from. Last 2 games of the week, Saturday was pretty good. They capitalized on mistakes, led 4-0 as Jake Cave and Charlie Blackmon homered off of Christian Scott, who still has no major league wins. But the bullpen came in. Jose Butto, Daniel Nunez, they clutched up as Lindor put the game to bed with 3-run homer in the 8th as the Mets won 7-3 in their City Connects. That never happens.
City Connects. What's that even like, man? You don't even have City Connects. It's like, I remember I was listening to ESPN Radio with Michael Kay, the great Michael Kay. And, I think he's great. Voice of the Yankees, of course, And he had Hal Steinbrenner. He was interviewing him, and he mentioned the City Connect. And Hal Steinbrenner responded was, "What's that?" The City Connect, the Nike City Connect uniforms. You're excited to get them, and he's like, "I don't know what that is," and no, we're not doing that. And that was it.
They're like, nope. The Yankees will not be getting one.
Will not be getting one. And so I'm thinking, wait, but don't they have some sort of contract where they have to do it for every team? And
that is no.
Doesn't
a team can refuse it. A team can refuse it.
Well, apparently they can, and they did. And but even though I don't think the Yankees would have, if they would have had to wear them, I think they would have probably wore them on the road and not wear them in Yankee Stadium. Because I don't think you can. The pinstripes are iconic. in so many ways.
I don't think any
So
teams have used their City Connects on the road that much. I know the Rays have and the Brewers have, but I don't think
okay,
very many teams have.
okay,
Sunday, that was the final game. That was today's game. Jose Quintana did not pitch well. The Rockies pretty much teed off. Michael Toglia had 3 home runs. The Mets did not capitalize on runners in scoring position. They lost 8-5 to end a 5-1 homestand. So a pretty good week. Ended by a
5-1.
not so great game, but it's not going to damper it too much because we're going to the All-Star break. 3 games over 500 in a wild card position. All right. What are our winners and losers for a week, for both teams? Do you have anything to say before that?
Winners, well, okay. Yankees. I mean, I'm still shocked by the outcome of today's game, man. I just can't. They just they set you up and then they rip out your heart. Like
they really had that game too.
I mean, well, I mean, with that home run, like that, you really thought. I mean, you're watching the game, you're like, all right, it's a close game. It's really hard to sweep a Major League Baseball team, just in general.
Especially of the caliber that the Orioles are at right now.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, even bad teams, it's hard to sweep.
They're slumping. They're slumping.
They are
right
surprisingly,
yeah.
they are slumping. So
and
maybe
you think of bad teams, we couldn't sweep the Rockies. Like, it's hard to sweep baseball teams.
Yeah, it's hard. It doesn't even matter. Bad teams. It's hard to sweep a baseball team. It's hard. It's difficult.
That's baseball, Susan.
Like I mean, I miss that guy. I miss those calls. I'm so sad he retired. Especially yesterday when Soto and Judge both hit back to back. I'm thinking back to back, belly to belly. And it's like,
wow.
And you don't get it. It's done. I mean, I said it out loud, but you don't get it anymore. And no more Yankees win. No, you don't get that anymore either. It's just it's sad. It's a sad day. I mean, it's sad in that way. We lost John Sterling's calls, and then we lost first place. What can I say?
Well, just barely. I think the Orioles are in a slump right now.
Well, we'll see, because these kind of wins, man, can completely totally.
Yeah, but the problem with that is they totally should have won that game before, and then they didn't, and then they did. Obviously, okay. I feel like we're going to the Mets point where the Mets are at right now. I think the Mets are in a good spot because they go to Miami after the All-Star break. Miami is not a very good team. They need to capitalize that, and then we play you guys. So that'll be very interesting. That'll be a very interesting episode.
If history does say anything, though, Miami
the
does.
Yankees are
well, no. Even before that, Miami, for some reason, they know how to beat the Mets. They do
know how to beat the Mets.
Just when the Mets need a win, Miami shows up and's like, nah.
Our last series in Miami did not go very well.
No.
Edwin Diaz, that game was painful to watch live. Edwin Diaz coming in with the 4-run lead and blowing it.
Mr. Trumpet.
Awful. All right, I need them to capitalize, yes.
Let's get to winners and losers.
All right, who do you got for the Yankees?
For winners this week, obviously we got Judge and Soto because they're awesome. It makes me kind of sad to see Soto so good because he's probably going to be a Dodger or something next year. I could see Ohtani. I could see Ohtani going up to the front office and saying, "Hey, just defer the rest of my salary. I'll work. I'll play for nothing. Or pay me $1. Bring over Soto." So we can win 8 World Series,
Make sure I have food on the table every day, and then we can.
Yeah, I mean,
and then you can go get Soto.
It's just gonna it's disgusting, that team. I mean the Dodgers, they're just anyway. So yeah, I got Judge and Soto as winners, and I also got Mr. Rice because, I mean, he's great. Every time I see him play, I think that he is it's a modern day Wally Pipp. I think
really.
I like that runs through my head. Now, we know that the Yankees love their veterans, and so Rice is a catcher originally. So
he doesn't play catcher, does he? Though now he doesn't.
They have my first base for now. I don't know, and now that Trevino's out,
Trevino is out.
Who knows how that's gonna work out? But Rice has made such a good impression. He doesn't look, when you watch his at bats, he doesn't look overpowered. Yeah, he today, minus the home run, he was 0 for 3 until that home run. But that being said, he's what the Yankees need. He's youth, he's energy. The Yankees need that. The Yankees need to be more athletic. They always say every year, okay, yes, we're going to get more athletic with this. They're still not athletic. Teams run on them. You see the way the Orioles play. The Orioles they're just they run hard, and that's a whole nother discussion, right? How the Yankees at times just look very lethargic. They don't necessarily bust it when they should, or when we think they
LeMahieu.
should, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, LeMahieu, Glaber, it's,
Yeah.
it just doesn't, like, when the team isn't playing bad, you want to see them bust it. And they seem to just let that kind of, they're not playing well, and it just shows in their mannerisms. And, this past stretch, when, they were just, you could see it. But that being said, on the flip side, that last game in Tampa, when they played the Rays, when they lost 5-4, you could see that there was something there. Something has changed. Something was changing.
They showed fight in that game.
Yeah, there was fight.
They
like, there was
lost
something
on a
in
good
it.
catch. They lost on a good catch that could have tied the game.
Exactly.
From,
there was just
what
something.
was his name?
It
Caballero.
felt different.
Mhm.
There was just, it just felt different watching the game. There was a different energy that was there that wasn't there previously, and it carried over to the Baltimore series. They took 2 out of 3 from the Orioles, but still, it just doesn't. You just don't feel good going into the All-Star break. You just,
It would have felt better if like, if you have to take 2 out of 3, losing the first game and then taking the next 2 is like, wow, they came back after that first game. But losing the last game in dramatic fashion feels like it hurts a lot more than what actually happened.
It was basically like, here's the game, here you go. It's like, here's a gift, and I get it. That's baseball, but when I saw Volpe drop that ball, oh, I was just like, here we go. And the thing is,
yeah,
Clay Holmes isn't. I know statistically, he's great, and he's an all-star. He's going to the All-Star game, right? Statistically, he's great. But when you watch him on a day in and day out basis, it's like a tightrope. You're watching the guy just, they don't call him Cardiac Clay for nothing, right?
My problem with Clay Holmes is that Yankees fans dislike him so much because he's not Mariano Rivera.
You're
like
absolutely right. But here's the thing.
Yankees fans don't like Clay Holmes because he's not Mariano Rivera.
And here's the thing. Mariano Rivera was an aberration, right? Like, he spoiled us.
There's not going to be anyone like him.
And you're never going to see that. Like, you're never going to see that again. Oh, I mean, maybe one day, right? But you're never going to see that kind of consistency from a pitcher. That we were spoiled. The New York Yankee fans were spoiled. So now we want a closer that is Mariano Rivera, and who knows if we will ever get that again. It's just not. That's just the way it is. And the thing is, statistically, Clay Holmes is a good. He's
a good closer. I would love to have Clay Holmes on my team. Yeah, he's a good closer.
A lot of teams would, but also it's not sexy that he doesn't have swing and miss stuff. That too, he's a ground ball pitcher.
He's a pretty basic closer. He doesn't have anything special about him.
I guess you can say it that way. It's just like, like, you want a guy that's going to come in and mow him down. Like Chapman, when Chapman is on, he just mows people down. He's throwing 1-2, 1-2, like, it's crazy, right? But so Yankee fans are just, I think we're used to that. I think that's what we expect. We have these crazy, wild expectations. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I mean, I want the guy to come in and strike everybody out, Yeah. I want him, I want him to throw high and inside, scare people, brush them back. I want him to just do all the things. I want him to be Mr. Nasty. I want him to go in there and
that's what they expect. That's what they expect, but they're not going to get that out of someone like Clay Holmes or mostly all those guys in that bullpen. It looks like most of your bullpen guys are pretty much contact pitchers.
So, that being said, All-Star break week, and I'm an American League guy.
Can we get to my winners and losers?
Oh, sorry, we skipped your winners and losers. Let's do your winners and losers.
All right, so we'll get through this pretty quick. There's not a lot to talk. It's pretty self-explanatory. Winners this year, this week, Brandon Nimmo, Francisco Lindor. Why are they not all-stars? Pete Alonso basically just went ahead and said, I'm not playing in the Derby if you don't put me as an all-star, which basically robbed Nimmo and Lindor of playing in the all-star game, which is very unfortunate because they both deserved it if you look at their stats over multiple people. I hope one of them gets in as a replacement, although at this point I don't really know. Jose Iglesias gets the third one. He continues to hit. He's just great. He's been so great for us. My boy Candelita, it's just great to see. That's it. Oh my God, he's performing at the All-Star game. It actually is amazing. He's performing at the All-Star game with his song.
That is really cool.
Losers, 2 bullpen pieces. Jake Diekman, Adam Ottavino, both DFA candidates. Please
Oh
Jake
gosh,
Diekman can't
TFA.
get an out. Adam Ottavino just throws meatballs. And Pete Alonso, well, he did have a homer today, but overall he's looked pretty lost at the plate, I will say. Pretty lost, strikes out, has been striking out a lot. So he might get back to form. I trust that he will. It's just he didn't have a very good week this week.
And so, the All-Star game
Here we go.
this week. I'm an American League guy and you're a National League guy. So I guess we're going to be rooting for our respective league teams to win.
Yeah.
Right? So, all right. So I guess we can discuss that next week. And I guess we're good for this week.
I think that sounds about right.